Let me paint you a picture. It's the early 90s in Los Angeles, California. You're stopping by the bank on the way home from work and you're really hoping to beat that Friday LA rush hour. Just as you're about to step up to the teller's counter, your transaction is cut short by a group of men in rubber president's masks. They're swinging guns all over the lobby. This bank is being robbed. By Patrick Swayze.
Rock and roll.
Folks, Point Break is more than a bona fide classic, and there's more to it than explosions and gunfights. Point Break is one of my favorite movies. And in case you haven't seen it and I haven't sold you on it this far, the movie also features Keanu Reeves jumping out of a charter plane with a loaded pistol and no parachute. So.
God damn, you are one radical son of a bitch.
This movie on the surface is a buddy action thriller about the most extreme game of cops and robbers that you could possibly imagine. But seeing as its influence has spanned from the iconic first installment of the Fast and the Furious mega franchise to the extremely disappointing 2015 remake, which I'm still recovering from, I figured there's got to be something more to this movie that makes me and everyone else I know cherish it so damn much. It's a story that packs a lot of relatable themes like friendship, love, loyalty, and sacrifice, and it is indeed a real Blue Flame special.
Hey, you're a real Blue Flame special, aren't you, son? Young, dumb, and full of cum. I know.
And what I need to know is, what's Point Break really about? Point Break, directed by Catherine Bigelow and written by W. Peter Liff, is the story of Johnny Utah, played by Keanu Reeves, a newly minted hotshot agent who's just arrived in Los Angeles and has been assigned to help his wacky conspiracy theorist partner Angelo, played by Gary Bucy, to track down and arrest a band of LA bank robbers called the Ex-Presidents, who he believes are local surfers.
Look at the tan line on this guy.
Oh, well, he must be a surfer.
Well, yeah.
When Johnny goes undercover and tries to earn his way into the unwelcoming community of local surfing, his limits will be put to the test as the group's leader, Bodie, played by Patrick Swayze, takes Johnny to the edge to gain his loyalty and teach him about the spiritual side of his philosophy.
They only live to get radical. They don't have any real understanding of the sea, so they'll never get the spiritual side of it.
This will cause relationships to form, be tested, and even shatter in some cases, as Johnny battles between his obsession with catching Bodie and his equally as important love and respect for his new family.
You're doing good.
I love this movie so much and for so many different reasons, and some of those reasons don't have anything to do with the themes that we're going to be analyzing today. But seeing as I don't know when I'll get the chance to make another video about Point Break, let me just take you through my top 5 favorite things about this movie. Here we go. Number 5, Gary Bucy.
I was in this bureau when you were still popping zits on your funny face and jacking off to the lingerie section of the Sears catalog.
Is that right, Pappas?
Yes, that's right, Harv.
I can't overstate how much I love Gary Bucy in this movie as Angelo Pappas. The scene where he's telling Johnny to get him the meatball sandwiches for lunch at 10:30 in the morning is iconic to me.
Right around that corner, there is a sandwich shop. They sell meatball sandwiches. Best I've ever tasted. Would you go get me two?
Number 4, Johnny and Bodie fighting the locals.
I know. This is where you tell me all about how locals rule and yuppie insects like me shouldn't be surfing the break and all that, right?
This scene is all the way Keanu, and I love that. We see 2 tan dudes beating up 4 more tan dudes, and it gets me jacked up every single time.
Back off, war child, seriously.
Number 3, this line from Keanu Reeves.
Buddy, this is your fucking wake-up call, man! I am an FBI agent!
Number 2, Patrick Swayze's performance, which in my opinion is the best performance he ever gave.
Okay, man. Okay. I'm screwed. I'm gonna go to jail, and I'll pay, and Johnny Utah gets his guy. Right? Good for you. That's real good. Gonna be a big hero now.
And number 1, the stunt work and cinematography. If nothing else, you'll want to watch this movie for the incredible action and even more incredible cinematography, the way they show you the action. Watch the scene where Reeves skydives without a parachute and tell me how good it looks. And also how real that all seems. Okay, now let's dissect this baby.
You know nothing. In fact, you know less than nothing. If you even knew that you knew nothing, that'd be something, but you don't.
Yes, sir.
Now, this movie really gives you a bit of everything, which ultimately I think is part of why it's such a classic. The characters are interesting, the pacing is strong and it feels swift yet full, and the action in this movie is awesome. I'm not just talking about the fistfights and the pew-pew stuff, but the shots of the crew surfing or skydiving or even playing a game of football on the beach. They all bring you firmly into the company of these ragtag local surf lords. We get seduced into their world, just like Johnny does. So let's talk about the first thing that I want to break down: the good guy's character arc and how it's influenced by the bad guy's motivation.
Does either one of you have anything even remotely interesting to tell me?
Caught my first tube this morning.
When the movie introduces us to Johnny Utah, he's a youthful, confident, semi-reckless, but ultimately fearless new FBI agent. Johnny wants to be the best cop that he can be, and he's got a bit of an attitude about it. He's the young bull in the precinct who has yet to earn any respect from his superiors or his peers. And as a result, he gets partnered up with Angelo Papas, an old head kind of seasoned agent who's frequently criticized by his coworkers for his wild theories and long-running goose chase for the surfing bandits. When Johnny goes undercover, he's immediately putting that confidence and charm to use as he meets a spunky and sexy surfer named Tyler, played by Lori Petty, and he convinces her to give him surfing lessons. Johnny's entire plan goes into the unexpected territory as he, of course, falls in love with Tyler and the circle of friends that she introduces him to.
Hope you're not buying into this bonsai bullshit like the rest of Bodhi's movies.
There's a scene midway through the movie when Johnny hits the point of beginning to question his original mission.
Is this not the best feeling on earth? Yeah!
See, Johnny realizes two things in this moment. He realizes that his drive to find the ultimate rush is what really makes him tick. After he rides his first real wave, he feels what it's like to be alive and fully embrace the ride. He's motivated by that fire in his belly, and with that, he also realizes that he and the man he's hunting may not be all that different after all.
I can't do this.
Sure you can. Who knows, you might like it. It's a killer rush.
Bodhi is the leader of the crew, and we will definitely be talking more about him soon, but at a high level, he's motivated by one thing: freedom. The spiritual side of surfing that Bodhi waxes poetic about throughout the film is his way of explaining that the only thing that matters to him is living in absolute peace and being free to do it the way that he wants, not the way that the world wants. Both Johnny and Bodhi believe in this idea, just to different ends. Johnny may be questioning his loyalty, but he's also not about to compromise his mission. So to reconcile the two, Johnny seeks to convince himself that he's doing the right thing, but he's also moving towards telling Tyler the truth as their relationship begins to get more serious. But before he can do that, he's tossed in the middle of a rock and a hard place as the gang suits up as the ex-presidents and hits a bank while Johnny and Angelo are on a stakeout. This causes Johnny to confront his BFFs as an FBI agent and completely blow his cover, before going on an exhausting foot chase with Ronald Reagan himself. But when Johnny finally gets his chance to nab his guy, he chokes and can't pull the trigger. When he looks into the eyes of his best friend, he just knows that he can't shoot. These guys are not just kindred spirits anymore. They're brothers. Johnny's arc continues through the end after he makes one final confrontation with Bodhi, only to catch him and bring him to justice in his own way. Bodhi and his crew had robbed 30 banks, kidnapped Johnny's girlfriend, killed his partner, and ruined his career, and Johnny still lets him go the way that he always wanted, riding the largest break in history before surrendering himself to the ocean and dying at sea. It's only then that Johnny tosses his badge into the ocean and lets his past career die with his friend and enemy. Now, to say that this ending is perfectly satisfying is definitely an understatement, and what I take away after each viewing is that Bigelow and Liff made this film to not only suit their previous work on blockbuster action thrillers, but also to say that why you do something is equally as important as what you do. Which reminds me, check out our episode on Nightcrawler, which dabbles in some of these same themes as well.
I guess we just must have ourselves an asshole shortage, huh?
See, Johnny's goal at first is to catch the bad guy and be the hero, but by the end, he was only interested in catching the bad guy if he could do it by respecting the code among his fellow surfers. There's like a loyalty to his backstabbing that makes everything snap into focus. Life is messy, relationships are messy, and sometimes the idea of right and wrong can be messy. Right and wrong isn't as simple as black and white when you take into account the why of it all, and as such, the bad guys are only bad if the good guy thinks they are. But our good guy doesn't. Now, why do I think this? Well, in the scene I mentioned earlier when Johnny rides his first wave, he kind of lingers behind the crew when they leave to ride out the rush that he's experiencing. Tyler hangs back with him and offers some interesting dialogue.
Well, usually you have this intense sort of scowl, concentration on your face, like you're doing all this for a school project or something. Or like you've got something driving you. Look at it. It's gone.
To Tyler, she's just saying that he looks relaxed. To Johnny, she's saying that he's found something that he wants more than catching a bank robber. He wants to feel something real. What about in the scene where Bodhi forces Utah to rob a bank with them? There's a shot after the shots ring out where Bodhi, who we know does not like violence, is forced to shoot a hostage who is actually an undercover cop with a blicky of his own. You can see that he doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to have to use a gun to get through the bank, but he has to. He's got people counting on him. He's got goals of his own. What he's doing is still less important than why he's doing it. He wants to live for the rush of chasing waves and seeking adrenaline. But that kind of thing costs money, and he wants what he wants so badly that he'll do things he doesn't want to do in order to get those things. But Johnny would never do that, and that's really the difference between the two. Bodhi probably wouldn't have hesitated to shoot Johnny the way that Johnny hesitates. He loves Johnny, but he wants what he wants, period. Johnny also wants what he wants, but he's not willing to compromise his own morals to get there. But in the end, who really wins? I mean, Bodhi dies, but that's kind of his happy ending as stated earlier in the film. And Johnny doesn't exactly walk away unscathed. He may have ended up with Tyler, but he also lost his partner, his best friend, and his sense of pride in his career that he worked so hard for. So really, nobody wins. And surprisingly, crime doesn't pay. But everybody learns the ultimate lesson, which as we know now is that life and everything in it is a constant overlap of ideas and choices that may highlight or darken your every moral belief. But the only way through it is to try to do the right thing anyway.
Are you through, Mr. Wizard?
Okay, look, I admit, maybe it is a bit of a stretch to say that this incredibly fun action thriller is somehow some huge grand metaphor for the complexities of relationships between people and how those things can affect our goals and our behavior. But also, maybe that's exactly what this is. But what's more important is what you think. So leave a comment down below. What do you think Point Break is really about? Or just tell me if you love it, or if you don't love it, tell me exactly how that's possible. Of course, make sure you like the video if you liked it and subscribe for the very best in movie content. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.